Welcome back to the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. We are on episode 36, and I had to finally get my dude on right now. Which I've been like, you're one of the names I had like super early on, like this year when I try to get to like as many new people I wanted to.
Appreciate it.
And I'm super excited. But today we have Hunter Avant, and what's going on, man?
Not much, man. I'm stoked to be in. I've been watching your channel a bit over the last couple months, and I figured it'd be time that we get to hang again.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've played together. And
it's been a long time, yeah.
Right?
And it's kind of crazy how far back we actually do go. You know what I mean?
I remember Vita Versa shows. That was 2013.
Yeah,
that's 9 years ago.
Almost literally next year, 10 years. Wow,
oh my God.
My
God!
I remember you were actually in there when we were recording our first iteration of the EP. So you helped with doing a lot of the backing vocals and the tuning, all the tuning on the vocals and stuff. You were helping that.
I forgot about that. Yeah, Brett did y'all's single or EP?
It was an EP. Yeah,
he did y'all's EP. Yeah. I remember walking in one day and he was like, "Yo, Hunter, can you listen to this real quick? You can sing harmony." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "It depends what it is."
Yeah.
And he showed it to me. I was like, "All right, give it to me." And I was like, I'm about to help the boys out and they don't even know.
I was so excited about that because literally I was I know jack shit about doing harmonies, and you're just that's one thing. I mean, you've been actually trained in that way, and you've been working on it for quite a long time, because I think that's where I don't know where it started, but I know you did that. Was it at TCU or you did?
Yeah. So the first half of my degree, I would say almost 3/4 of my degree I did at TCU, and then whenever we found out that we were pregnant, I took a year off from school, and then I came back to UTA and finished.
Okay.
So
what was the degree exactly in?
Music education and performance, with a vocal emphasis.
Oh, okay, cool. Which kind of leads into the stuff that you've been other than you've been in bands and stuff, but you actually do a lot of teaching and stuff like that with it, and vocal coaching. As far as even from when I've known you, you've been doing that super early on with a lot of people. How does I guess that being able to provide that for other people feel?
So I'll always tell people no matter what I do with my career or try to do with my career, my original love will always be education. Mm-hmm. Just for whatever reason, I always loved it. I think why vocal coaching really stuck with me is even being 19 years old and kind of going through. I already knew sort of that I wanted to do that as well as music in general. But my vocal coach was a guy named Myron Ice. Myron Ice is the guy that taught the 3 core pentatonics members.
Okay.
Yeah. Whoa. He's an absolutely amazing guy, the most charismatic and really he's professional but hilarious.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole time. So I think that his spirit was a big influence on what I wanted to become. Mm-hmm. He was such a part of my evolution, because I used to, believe it or not, have really bad imposter syndrome.
Really?
Yeah, really, really bad. And singing sort of helped me get out of that sort of introverted imposter space.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he was a really important person in my life that I knew. I idolized things that were about him. Mm. And like I said, he was the vocal coach for the 3 core pentatonics members. I also went to high school with them.
Oh, really? What the hell?
So it's the 3 core, and so it's the ones without. It was them without the bass guy, Avi, and then Kevin, I believe, who's the cello player that beatboxes. So it was the core 3 singers.
So all the other. Okay, you could have been 6th member right there.
Yeah. But it is crazy. So I started vocal coaching, I guess, when I wasn't even 19 yet, so it's been about 10 years.
Okay.
I just always knew that I love to see the looks on people's faces. I love getting what I call a good canvas. A good canvas is a person that is relatively at least good at singing and they know nothing.
Yeah.
Because I think that the thing that's not really understood too well about singing in general is that there is so much more objective truths than people realize.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
What do you mean by that?
Objective truths.
Yeah.
So an example would be a person you ever listen to a recording yourself and you know that you hit the right note but you didn't like the sound of it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People think it's because it's about pitch, but it's more, it can be about a number of other things. For instance, your voice will never show an emotion that is not on your face.
Okay.
Think about it like this. Okay.
I mean, I kind of get that. That kind of makes sense, but go for it.
Why does Billie Eilish succeed to sound dead inside?
Okay.
What does her face look like? But it's on purpose.
But okay, yeah.
It's a character voice. You know what I mean? This is a technique that's taught all the way from rock to Bach. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And everything in between, musical theater, jazz, everything. Another thing would be like, okay, so you don't like the way that note sounds. Well, have you tried like a wider version of the vowel, like more like horizontal space or more vertical space to kind of like alter the actual format of it? Like what are your lips doing? How engaged are they?
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's not even the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, no, like just like hearing it, I'm like, I should be taking notes right now. But
oh yeah,
but that's, I mean, like there's so many things like that like you're saying, like a lot of people like think, or even if you have like natural talent, you're kind of good at singing, or any talent specific. But there's so many little, like, things like that. Like I said, opening your mouth wide. That's like something like when I think we've recorded and stuff. It's like, oh, try. I think that's something like DJ was telling me. He's like, oh, try, opening like a little wider. Like doing that. I'm like, I'm hitting the same note though, but it does like sound different. And there's like tiny little things that do that. But that's cool to know that that's something that you have learned and like get to share like with other people, because I'm sure like you run into like a lot of people who are like super talented, like you're saying, and you're able to kind of like, hey, you're great, like let's make you like amazing kind of thing, and be able to push them a little bit further than what maybe even them like initially thought. And
especially like the last couple of years. So 3 years ago I picked up production, and by picked up I mean I went absolutely obsessive, like unhealthy almost.
Okay.
But but it was one of the greatest blessings that I could have done for my career and the people that are involved in my life. That I'm their vocal coach, and if I can tell you one thing that's different about being a vocal coach compared to like my experience with guitar teaching or piano teaching or any other. I play flute as well. I don't know if that matters.
To add to the many lists of talents.
I haven't taught a flute lesson to someone in like 6 years or 7 years, so I don't know if that's
it's still on the resume. It's fine.
But what I can tell you is that because whenever you deal with something like the voice, it's the instrument that you carry on you. You know what I mean? It's the thing that's most personal to you. It is a window into your soul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How you express it and how comfortable you are with it oftentimes will reflect kind of how comfortable you are with yourself and how much identity that you have yourself. You know what I mean? So whenever our students come in and they're sounding a sort of way, I find myself more oftentimes than not like decoding things in their life. You know what I mean? And almost being sort of like a therapist simultaneously with being a vocal coach for them. Because like sometimes you have to access those emotional places and those hard to reach areas to dig down and find the right emotion for performing to your best ability. And sometimes it means confronting your fears, which is like the really terrifying thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? About it all. But I think that's the thing that really, really keeps it. And I do have a number of singers that I would consider to definitely be professional grade. You know what I mean? But I always say, even if you're a teacher, never stop learning. I stay a student. I think everybody for life should stay a student.
That's like a concept that like I consistently keep running into, because I've always felt that way of like I'm never gonna know enough or all of it. Like I can just keep trying to learn more about it and learn more about anything that I'm doing. I was like, 'cause there's always somebody gonna be doing something cooler, and like if you stay in that box where you're like, no, this is the way I want to do it for him, it's like that's fine, but you're never gonna progress out of it. Like and there's always gonna be someone finding innovations. That's why like even with music, when you run into stuff that are like, you know what, I really don't like this anymore. Yes, but for someone that was pushing outside of what you were comfortable with. Yeah. That's why even like as I've grown, because I feel like I probably like ran into like an elitist period of my life where I was just like, oh, it's got to sound like this. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be this.
I always tell people there was throughout my life, there are two different hunters that you met. You met the one before he did DMT, and then you met the one after he did DMT. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a pre-ego death and then a post-ego death version of me. One was where I thought that everything, like I had this really dull, immature sense where I thought it was a competition between me and others. Yeah. And then after that, I realized the only competition that matters is the competition between me and myself. Mm-hmm. Or better yet, my today's self versus my yesterday's self. Yeah. That was whenever I actually improved the most of my life.
It is an interesting thing to really come to terms with, and I can't point to when it happened for me, but I remember that where I was like, I need to make sure whatever I'm doing is better than whoever's next to me, and I kept worrying too much about that. So like I wasn't even developing like my own style, sound, anything that I liked. And I realized by the time like I got to the end, I'm like, I'm making stuff that I don't even like because I'm too worried about like it's gotta be this above like whoever's over there. And once I started dealing with like, you know what, I'm just going to make shit that I actually like enjoy, and I'm like, how do I get stuff better than what I did like with my other songs and stuff that like I like will actually listen to again. Because I started looking, I'm like, I'm not listening to like my old music at all, like, or even like any music that I was putting out. I'm like this isn't like my favorite song, and I feel like it should be. Like if I'm like creating stuff, like I should be so hyped on my own shit, like
right.
But I was too worried about like other people,
Exactly. And on that same note, so I don't know, this might be a good segue into the next point, but my first like metal band experience, I'll say my first band experience ever was a pop rock band called Just Say Yes. And wow, that sounds awfully like nowadays as a band title, right? Like Just Say Yes, like, you know what I mean? Okay. It doesn't sound lighthearted and poppy at all. not going back, but whenever you're 16 years old, you don't know better. But I'll say the drummer named the band, not me.
Not me.
But yeah, like, so that was I don't know if you know who like Kate Arsenault is or Alex Smalls. He's a guitar player. He plays in a band. They play it like Rustic all the time stuff. He's a great guitar player. And then the bassist was Clay Gober.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you don't know, me and Clay Gober were like best friends from like sandbox best friends from the time we were like 3 years old until we were like 17, 18.
Damn, in the sandbox that long?
Yeah. We can I curse on this?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Like, fuck. Okay. But yeah. So like the story with that is, we were in a band. I think I joined Just Say Yes when I was sophomore, something like that. So whenever I got in the band as a pop rock, I had absolutely no experience with this style of music. I had never heard Mayday Parade before. I'd never heard like Go Radio or any of the bands that like they were like trying to get me to sing like.
Yeah.
And so they're straight up telling me to like emulate these artists, and whenever I'm writing vocals, try and like do it as if they were doing it.
Yeah.
And God, like going back, it was one of those days where like you wish you could have met your older self. So your older self could have been like, get out. Get out now. Get out. Go. This is bad for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I went through that, and it did help me realize that in singing, if you want to get the best that you possibly can, you have to get weird with it. But I wouldn't use like the emulatory route to do that.
Yeah.
I would literally just get like Ace Ventura with it.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Like I tell people, like sometimes the right amount is like farther than you think. They think that singing is like talking.
Yeah.
The vowel formations are not like that. The spacing and the amount of pressure and stuff like that is not like that of singing. But the flip side was after that band kind of went through, me and Lane Duskin were friends from high school. We were like really close friends.
Yeah.
And so he got in Polyphia. I'd come over there. I'd already met the guys. Like this was 2011. We were children.
Yeah.
Little kids. And this is before Clay was in the band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is when we had Ryder Johnson from Even Cameras Lie.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah,
Damn.
he was the bassist. And I tell you, being 17 years old and watching that dude, he can sweep on a bass.
On a bass?
I'm
What the fuck?
Dude, I'm not even kidding.
What the shit?
I'm not even kidding. And it was clean. He was the youngest member of the band. He was like barely 17.
Fuck.
Like fresh 17, sweeping on a bass. I'm just like, what in the... And he was like writing the part. Dude, it was nuts. But so whenever I got in that band... So they'd already had the EP with Lane's vocals released on it. They started to practice, and they were like, "Yo, Lane, we love your screams on it, but like that's just kind of like nuts to sing." He's like, "Do you know anybody that can sing it?" And he goes, "I think Hunter can." And like me over here, who's never hit, like at that point in time, I'd never touched like a high C before, or anything like that. I hadn't really ever sung metal in my life. I'd sung like Van Halen and I mean like classic metal, classic rock, and stuff like that. But it was quite different, and so that was a really big process. And I just remember them. The guys showed me a Skylit Drive.
Oh shit!
You know what I mean? As an example. Now, bear in mind, me at 18 years old. Imagine me, a baritone, being told, "Hey, listen to this guy and sound like him."
Oh shit!
I'm like about to punch myself in the balls, being like, "Ready, let's go!" You know what I mean? Like
all that.
So it was a little overwhelming, but like I will say, I think the reason that Clay got so good at bass is because the pressure of being in that band is immense. And I mean, it's like you got to be up and on it. You know what I mean? And constantly improving, constantly moving.
Yeah.
You know, like with that band, there's very few chinks in the armor, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no. Especially like you with their trajectory, just even seeing like album after album, project after project, it's just everything is elevated like from them. So
yeah,
and being able to see that, like even just like I just saw them at So What this weekend and seeing how they've grown and how they live show, because I've seen them play Tomcats and now seeing them play like you know venues like that. I'm like, dude, it's insane. Like my opinion of them as artists, they're really fucking good. It's like and it hasn't changed, but even with time, like it's still like they're really fucking good. It's not like how good they were here, like they're even better. Like, but my stance on them is still like, fuck, dude. Like these guys like live like and breathe this shit like to make it sound that, make it look and sound that easy.
Now, no, I'm obviously here to be transparent.
Yeah.
My experience with their music is that whenever I got in the band, I'm not going to lie, mainly because I like Dragon Force, okay? I actually liked Dragon Force.
Yeah, okay.
Whatever, back in the day, you know, not just Through the Fireplace, but like Heroes of Our Time was like one of my favorite songs by them. And what do they call it? Inhuman Rampage. Damn, that's a really good song by them. But I wasn't a fan of the music at all, to be honest, but I did like the Cloud because I was young and vain.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. What I can say, the flip side is that I'm like, damn, what I would do to sing for him now, because now I'm a ghostwriter and I write for 4 other artists. One of them is a national artist, and you know, like I write in those genres now, those pop and R&B genres. I mess with it. I write songs and sell songs daily. Not daily, but like weekly, bi-weekly, I guess.
Wow. And that's what, because that's one of the other things I wanted to touch on. There's so many like things that you're doing like with music, but ghostwriting. How long have you been doing that now?
So when I started producing, it was like 3.5 years ago now. 2 years ago was the first time that I ever sold a song idea.
Okay.
And then I joined like it's called like Music and Producers Forum or something like that on Facebook. It's a Facebook group. I just remember posting a couple clips of stuff that I wrote, and it started like people started messaging me, and I started just kind of networking. After a while, I started just doing a little bit of free work, you know, just collabs or whatever. And then I started getting hit up for commissions. Like people would have like an instrumental, and they'd be like, "Okay, can I pay you to like?" I'd have like this bundle where I'm gonna be like, okay, I'll write the vocals, I'll track them at my studio, I'll edit them, I'll even track harmonies and stuff like that. I'll send you unprocessed version and a stem a stem version and a processed version or whatever, and so they can have that. And then after a while of doing that, you know Subu Bandari. You don't know him? He's in For All I Am and stuff like that. He was in From Dusk Till Dawn forever ago. Oh, remember this band?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But so I mean, he's one of my homies. He lives in Fort Worth too. Okay. He's on 7th. You could go out to 7th and you got a 50-50 shot of seeing that on any night. But yeah, he's a good bud of mine, and there was this guy named Dariush, or his dubstep name is Mashbit. Okay. And he was looking for a singer for this song that him and this other dude named Decadon. His name is Donnie Miller.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so Decadon, if you don't know, he's a national dubstep artist that is under Subsidia Records, which is Excision's record label.
Excisions.
Yeah, if he's like, I don't know, how do I explain Excision to somebody who doesn't know? Imagine if there was a Mount Rushmore of dubstep.
Okay, shit.
As if that would just be so lit, so lit. It would be like Skrillex, Diplo, kind of Excision, and like. Insert one more here. There's 4.
So they're on the same label.
Right? Yeah. So Decadon is under Excision's label. Oh, okay. So, gotcha. But him and Mashbit made the song together, and they were looking for a vocalist, and they knew Subu. Subu asked me. We linked up, and then we became like super good friends. And we made a song called Love and Regret. I only wrote the vocals, and I tracked it. And they just sent me the instrumental essentially. And whenever we released it under Subsidia, it got signed to Excision's label. It hit number 24 on the international dance music charts.
Fuck.
Yeah, and then...
How the fuck does that feel?
Well, I had no idea, like... I just thought it'd be like just like a normal thing.
Yeah.
You know, and then I woke up and they're like, yo, like it shot up like 200K or something like that in a day or two. And I was like,
What the fuck?
what?
Yeah.
And then just people that were fans of those people or friends of those people, it just, the general gist is that word of mouth is as powerful of a thing.
Yeah.
As awesome as social media is, like just doing cold hard work, and if you really care about it and you really love it and you're consistent about it and that's what you really want to do and you just beat it, and if life tells you no, you say yes. You know what I'm saying? Like I say it's just as powerful now as it was 30, 40 years ago.
It's one of the things word of mouth is just so much. It feels a little closer and more personal, more tangible thing of like especially like if people are recommending you like and saying like, hey, I've personally worked with this person, like you should work with them too. Like, oh, when we worked together, like they put out this, it was great. I'm gonna probably trust that a little bit more than anything I'm reading or what I'm watching, because I'm like, there's tons of things that could be happening like behind the scenes before you get to a song. And then I've had so many experiences where you're like, you hear a product or you hear something, I'm like, that sounds fucking great, and then you hear the story behind it and it was a fucking nightmare, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, that word of mouth comes from like, and that's still like, you know, the still word of mouth, like it could easily travel for good and it could easily travel for bad, but like I'm gonna trust that element for. And also like if these people are like friends or in the same community or what they're talking about, like I'm probably gonna trust like the opinions and like I know who's word I'm not trusting, and it's definitely carries a little bit more than what I can see. I mean, I love social media and the fact that it lets people link up with people they would never ever get the chance to like work together with. I mean, that's great, but a word of mouth recommendation or just like, hey, how to make connections with people seems to be the way to immediately and directly like be able to contact and get an avenue into like somewhere where you're it would may have taken like back channels and all this crap like to get through them just to like through social media or online or anything like that. So it definitely is. I think it's still as powerful as it has always been.
It is, and it's been and I used to think that I could sort of work my way up like through the social media ladder, but I think the core of that concept not really working as well as the organic way was that the way that my parents raised me. You know what I mean? I was very like competitive in nature and everything like that, but I was also to be very personable and honest. Even if I had cocky issues when I was young, I was always very honest what I thought.
Yeah.
You know, and whenever I started really just buckling down and saying like, this is what I love in my life and I want to make a difference, like even more happy than I'm more happy with like seeing the faces on like my students whenever they've made a sound they've never made or hit a note that they've never hit. That makes me happier 10 times out of 10 than putting on a dope performance myself. 10 times out of 10. I think it'll always be that way. If it's already been this way for a decade, I think that's what drives me, to keep making really good, honest business and to always stay a student even if I'm teaching. Like we said earlier.
Yeah.
My students ask me that, like, would you take vocal lessons from another like vocal coach that you respect? And I said, okay, let's get this straight. Just because I'm a vocal coach, if you think for 5 seconds that if someone let me take like a month in-person course with Steve Mackey, who's like Jennifer Lopez and like all them, if you let me take a month lessons with him, I would literally sell my left nut to do that. Like, you got to be crazy, bro. I stay a student, and I'm looking for the best opportunities and the best avenues to just fill up my bank of knowledge so that I can just spread it.
That's gonna say like, because you know that you're not the only one getting benefit from that. Like
I'm trying to make any wave of people,
and then like exactly like if you're still learning, then that means your students will always have even more like to keep learning from you, and then again spread out to like whoever you can learn from. Like there's so many different teachers, and you're always, even when you're trying to teach someone, like I don't know what experience I had recently, but I was showing someone how to do something, and then like they offered me like an alternative option to do something, and I'm like, I was like, you're right. I was like, okay. And it's just one of those moments, and you get those a lot from like people you're learning from, and from people where people are like, oh, I like didn't even think about that way, or like because you get so used to sometimes in like your own way of like doing things and learning things that sometimes you forget that like, oh, there's always like the thing you're missing because you're in a rut or whatever. But yeah, definitely staying a student is a motto that I've like maintained with like everything, and I'm like, just keep learning. It's like, because there will always be, once you learn everything about it, like there's gonna be double the amount already that you need to relearn or like keep learning? You know what I mean? Like it's always evolving.
I just remembered. So this loops into a really cool story. So that exact topic that we're having right now, the person that actually sort of like woke me up and said like, hey, remember, like, keep a good intention so that you can, develop a good word of mouth, and like always stay in a competition with only yourself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That person was actually Austin Post.
Really?
It was Post Malone.
What the fuck?
Before
Okay.
he was, so the story is, when I was in Polyphia, and this is something that I don't think a lot of people know at all. Mm-hmm. I think I've told this to maybe like 5 or 6 people ever, but it's a true story.
Okay.
So when I was in Polyphia, we played this venue called Starwood Studios. Do you remember this venue?
Yeah. Okay. Over there.
Tanner's dad owned it.
Yeah.
And so one of the shows there, it was Polyphia and a band called Love and Colors. Mm-hmm. Love and Colors was fronted by Austin Post, or Post Malone.
Yeah.
And he was the guitar player and lead singer, rhythm guitar player and lead singer, and they were a stoner indie rock band. And when I say he sings way different in that style music than he does as Post Malone, I mean it's like on a whole other planet.
Holy shit.
You know what I mean? But I remember his band had this school bus that they gutted out and put like beds in or something like that.
Yeah.
So they could tour in it. And I remember we went inside that thing and hotboxed the shit out of it. And we had like this long talk. And one of the things they told me, he goes, man, it's all chill. Like, remember, it's just a competition with yourself. And that's still like 10 years later, that still rings with me. So it's funny that we brought that up, because that was actually like Post Malone was the first person that
fucking funny.
that ever showed this to me. And that was the craziest thing too, because like the last time we played with him, like people don't know, Polyphia and Post Malone actually played a show together in front of like 40 people, like 9 months before both of them blew up.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know, right? I know, it's one of those things that you just got to be in that cornhole. You know what I'm saying? You got to be right in that moment at the right time, or else it just doesn't exist to anybody. That when I tell that to people with no context, they're like, "You full of shit. You're totally full of shit. No way." But I'm like, honestly, now I want to see Post Malone Polyphia collab.
That doesn't seem far fetched though. Like,
it
now,
does
you know
not.
what I mean?
They got Trippie Redd. Trippie Redd's on their new album. Trippie Redd,
is it?
Yeah. Trippie Redd recorded at Never Satisfied, which is the studio that I'm doing my album with currently.
Fuck. That is true. Let's touch on that. You just signed to start doing your solo like debut album, right?
Yes. So I go in, I believe it's not this coming Wednesday, but the following. So it's gonna be like the second week in June.
Okay.
If you're watching this later on. So I'm recording with Never Satisfied Productions. Brandon Crabtree is he's the resident producer there.
Nice.
Yeah, if you're in the band, he was the guitar player for like Ivory Line and Hollow Wealth and Euphony.
Wealth.
You're right. I know, one of the greatest freaking metal bands that's ever graced Dallas.
God, I'm so mad at how long I knew them before they broke up and stuff. But anyways, yes, Brandon Crabtree's amazing.
Yeah, so he's the resident producer there. He did Lightfall's EP. Mm-hmm. If you guys have heard Lightfall stuff, that's Brandon's production. It's absolutely amazing. Huge fan of everything that he does, but he's become an absolute fiend monster of production.
Yeah.
For pop, rock, R&B, hip-hop, you name it. You know what I mean? And we're going to try and make something really unique. He knows that there's about 50 different genres that spin around in my head, but he knows me. He knows me as a musician and a creator. A lot of the songs that I sold in 2021, I sold 21 songs.
Okay.
And so far this year, I've sold 12. Damn, and I think it's a faster year. But yeah, me and Brandon have been working together at that studio. Whenever I ghostwrite for artists, the artists three of the artists that I ghostwrite for go up to that studio. Oh, okay. And I meet them up there and we do production and writing and everything like that. If any of you guys know who Lardy B is, she's one of my students.
Lardy B?
Yeah, she's a parody artist in Dallas. If you never watched her parody videos, she's blowing up. It's awesome. She does a cover of WAP, except it's Wings and Pizza.
Wings and Pizza. Yeah. Wait, I have seen fucking that. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. She's signed. She's signed to the actual production company. And if you guys don't know, I gotta plug them. Never Satisfied Productions in Carrollton, Texas.
Nice.
They've done some gold records, I believe, for I think it was Kodak Black. They did Ray Shrimmered.
Okay.
They've done a couple singles with Chris Brown. They just had Eric Bellinger in, who just won a Grammy.
Shit.
They just brought in some chick that's written 5 or 6 songs for Taylor Swift.
Fuck.
Yeah, and then people. There's such cool people that just walk around up there all the time. This guy named Yayo. Yayo is and has been Lil Wayne's drummer for 15 years, since the Carter 3 or something like that.
Fuck.
Yeah, he's just up there all the time. You walk in there, he's like, "Yo, what's up, Yayo?"
What the fuck?
But it's just so cool. And the owner of the studio, Radio Raheem, he's a absolute he's a hip hop R&B legend around here. He's been in the game for 20-25 years. This guy, we're talking, I think it was 3 months ago, he flew up to New York to go pick up G-Eazy and flew him back to the studio so that they could have a soft listening party for his album. And he just did it out of
fucking nowhere. Just hey, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, because my session was that night. Whenever they came in, they're like, "Oh, by the way, G-Eazy's just what? What?
What the fuck? Damn.
It's just a normal Thursday for his ass. You know what I'm saying? But
So how does that feel just to be in the same place? I mean, you kind of know what you're in there doing for yourself and stuff. I feel anybody, I would right off the bat, for me, I'd be oh, that's probably kind of intimidating. But I think for someone who's been doing it what you have been doing for the time you've been doing, I feel you just fit right in. You
know, whenever I first started popping up there, they're a very tight knit family. You know, and so whenever they see someone in that's new, pretend I'm a little orphan lion cub. Okay? It'd be me coming in, I'm not threatening or anything to them, but I'm unknown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have a pride. And so it's just that process of me proving that I'm, pure of heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I am valiant. You know what I mean? But it was just sort of that thing, and it was just all love. We came together, and the ghostwriting thing, it really helped. And I've dragged more of my students up there and started writing for them. I write all the music for an artist named Merced. He's a Latin reggaeton artist. He's got songs that are in English, Spanish, Italian, and Bosnian.
Merced.
Yeah, it's just Merced. You can look it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's a really catchy shit. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's definitely in the Latin reggaeton, but it's very poppy. It's got those hooks that get stuck in your head. You know what I'm saying? But I've been writing his stuff. We're already on album 2 for him. I'm 15 songs deep with him.
Damn.
And and I want to shout out Anthony Soto as well. If you guys know Anthony.
Anthony Soto.
Yeah.
Do I?
Don't know?
Do it.
Well, you're gonna know him soon. He's one of my really powerful rock singers that I'm teaching my ways.
I'm teaching my ways.
Yeah, but he's fire. He can scream and sing pretty damn good. But where was I? I'm getting my lost train of thought.
You were bringing people up there.
Oh,
you were,
yes.
Yeah.
I was bringing people up there, and they just started to notice, okay, he fucks with us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And after a while, I started kind of saving up money from all the work that I've been doing, and put a down payment on the album. We just came there. We dropped a fat stack down on them. We're like, the time has come. Let's do this.
Let's fucking do this.
We all sat at the round table, and it was really, it's really formal and everything. But it was super intimidating. Coming in there being I'm just not used to that. You know what I mean? I felt like Hayley Williams probably did when she jumped from a Warped Tour stage to an arena stage.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You think that you're a big fish, and then you jump in the ocean.
Till you jump in. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I definitely got that sense, and with all that comes the questioning yourself, and oh, I think this is good, but shit, I'm afraid to show this person because they'll probably think it's trash. Their best friend probably wrote a song twice that good yesterday.
Yeah, that would be the fucking intimidating shit where you are, like you were saying, a big fish in what you've been doing. It's oh yeah, I'm good, and then you run into people who are yeah, we're also good. You know what I mean? That's why, I always hear that comparison when people are, for some reason, it's always, in college sports, and people are oh, why are they really good in college? And then, when they get to professional, it's not, they don't shine as much. And it's oh, that's because, in college, they're good, and everybody else is okay. For when you go professional, everybody's on that level. It's everybody's just as fast as you are, and this and that. He's so it's definitely a lot harder. So it's kind of, getting into that level and also be like, okay, like I'm here, like now I have to elevate to where these people are at, you know, and like you said, like earn like the respect, but also earn the exact like work that they're doing, like be able to match like the type of like, you know, work that they put in. But like I feel like you've got like since I've known you, like there's always this attitude about it, like where it's like I can get this shit done. You know what I mean? Like let's fucking just like do it. And,
I got no option, bro.
Yeah, like that's kind of like what it feels.
My mom was the one that raised me to be like that. My mom is very like very sweet woman and stuff like that. But she's a hard ass, bro. My mom is tough as nails. My mom is a 67-year-old woman that still hits the gym regularly.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like she wakes up with that angst.
You know with that
angst. She really does. But it's good. It's good. And you know, it was reflected on me. My dad is definitely more like first of all, he's one of the most ingenious artists, like a visual artist that I've ever met. But it's strange because I can't draw a stick figure right, and he can draw John Wayne from memory, and it looks more like John Wayne than John Wayne looks. but he's tone deaf, and he can't play any instruments.
Whoa. Yeah. So does any of your family like do music?
Yeah, I'm my distant uncle that I'm not close with at all is a professional opera singer. But other than that, no.
Other than that, no.
No, I don't have any musicians in my family. It sucks. I wish I like grew up and I was like, yo, like I'm gonna play the keys, go off on the guitar. Like,
yeah.
It wasn't like some Jackson 5 type shit. I wish, dude, more than anything. But like, but yeah. So like, I would just say, whenever it comes to getting stuff done for better, for worse, you know, all mental inhibitions out of the way. You know, that was the thing that was hardwired into me, and I think that really helped me stride through some of the more shitty areas of kind of building, you know, what would become a good career. And I always tell people, for the record, like, at Never Satisfied, they know me as a ghostwriter there, but they're just getting to know me as like an artist and all this other stuff. Half of them then didn't even know that I was like a vocal coach primarily. Until I was there for a year, just because they only know me as a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
You know, like I go up there and I write songs for other people. You know what I mean?
True. And
like every week, every Thursday for like a year. And so they started discovering that, but they're like, okay, people always say that it's really hard to make like a sustainable income as a musician. Correct?
Yeah.
You know, you would say that's arguably one of the hardest things to do. You know what I mean? And the obvious answer is, oh, you blow up, you're there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just want to blow up and act like I don't know nobody. You know what I mean? No. But like, you know, because they know that I've got like a wife and kids now, and so my answer to that is, you know, they always say, like, the millionaire mentality is you have multiple sources of income.
Yeah.
If I just vocal coached, I wouldn't make a great amount of money. If I just ghost wrote, I wouldn't make a great amount of money. You know?
Yeah.
If I just did top lines, I wouldn't make a good amount of money. If I was just a gigging performer, I wouldn't make it. But you gangbang all those things together, and it makes a really good money sandwich.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I would say it's no different than that millionaire mentality. I'm not a millionaire. I do not.
I was like, is this a millionaire? Like,
I don't make six figures. I do not. Like, let's get that straight. And I stay home. You know, like I get to mostly stay home. I have my home studio and everything, but that's always something that I get asked a lot. You know, because they're always curious. They're like, "Do you work any other sort of job?" I'm like, "No, I haven't in 5 years, 5-6 years." That was like a part-time job. Yeah, I had a part-time job 5-6 years ago, but I was like dead set on like really following it.
Yeah,
you know. But where was I going forward? I know we're on like this great train. Okay, so we already went through Polyphia.
Polyphia, you started to record your album. They're getting to know you as an artist.
So one of the 2 tracks that I wrote earlier this year, one of them I scored a feature with Twista, who's like the platinum selling rapper.
Yeah.
And then the other one I wrote that got a feature from Aaron Carter.
What the fuck? Okay.
I know, right? And then after that, I got hit up by his manager who works under Universal, and was like, "Yo, we've been shopping songs at like this building that they shop songs with. They're like, we actually like the 2 songs that you sent us more than any of the ones that we were shopping. Could we like potentially talk about like a ghostwriting deal for Aaron?" And I was like, understand, like, I'm a person that watched Lizzie McGuire growing up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, growing up, and I'm like, dude, my 5-year-old self would think I was so cool right now. Like,
Full circle moment.
you know what I mean? But my secret goal is to work it around and get to Nick Carter.
There you go.
I want to meet Max Martin. You know what I mean? I want to write a song with Max Martin. If you know who he is, he's the guy that wrote all the Backstreet Boys and the
bangers.
Britney Spears songs and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm Brandon or Dialogue at the studio. My producer is the same way. Like him and I are on the same goal. We have the same like idols and stuff like that. But yeah, like that's sort of a way that I tie that together, I guess. But I do start my album process in a week. It's gonna have a lot of really cool, different sounding songs on it. I'm gonna try and definitely put some metal elements in it, but it's gonna be like electronic metal mixed with like pop and really intense vocals and stuff like that. A lot of cool overlapping stuff. I'm gonna try and make it like a soundscape, really colorful, intense album. It's got really real lyrics. You know, God knows if anybody knows about my life, they know that there's been some
been through some shit
stuff. Yeah, like I'll put it this way: on the same day that, or I would say close to the same day that Johnny won his trial, I won a trial for something very, very similar to that, and it was an entirely mocked up thing.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and it was a unanimous decision by the jury. Someone said that I slapped their arm and bruised them, and they found out basically that the size of the finger didn't fit.
Holy shit! Like you had to go fucking.
And that they did it to themselves afterward. And that whenever they tried to take a photo inside of my car, and I slapped the phone out of their hand with the phone. I picked it up and handed it back to them, and then they put it on themselves like that, and then basically did the whole thing.
What?
Called the police, blah, 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 and then it got debunked. And it was like the 2 or 3 days before Johnny Depp went through the exact same thing and won. I'm just like, dude, like it's just it's uncanny, dude.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, I have never laid a hand. I just want to put this out there. I have never laid a hand on a woman before. Ever. I never would do that. Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? But I just found it was pretty crazy. But the moral of that, what I'm rounding around to, is that so much life, and that's only an example, has gone by. You know, good, bad, ugly, weird. You know what I mean? And I have a 4 or 5 year rule. It's been 5 years since. At least 5 years since I wrote the Lightfall EP.
I was literally about to ask, like, when was the last time you wrote? Because I'm like, you've probably got a 5, so about 5 years since the... Yeah,
and then it was another 3 or 4 that the Vita Versus album was. Yeah, that was the Transcendence EP. Our album was called Nomads. Nomads. I remember my own album.
Nomads. I remember that album. And I remember one specific part in the song, and I always bring it up. And I don't know why, like, I'll bring up, what's the song called? It's called Cardiac Atrophy. But you do this fucking thing, and it's my favorite thing ever, but it's like, what is that? It's some fucking weird-ass little rise note shit. Yeah, every time I bring it up, I'm like, bro, hold on, shut up. Like, listen to this part. But that I remember, like that song was one of the last ones tracked on our album. So during the album process, and while we were at the studio, so I was dating this chick, and we had this breakup. Bear in mind, we tracked the album at Chango B with Sean Christmas in Orlando. We spent 2 weeks there, and I went through this really messy, like, ugly crying breakup. Oh, no.
During this, and Cardiac Atrophy was, like, the song that came, like, out of all that energy. And, like, I think Sean, the screamer of the band, was, like, kind of pissed as well, because I think him and his girl's, like, relationship was deteriorating. So it was, like, both the vocalists in the band were going through this, like high-tension situation. Yeah. And I just, like, needed to release it really bad, and that was the song that came out of it. And I will say, like, about all the nut stuff, like, you know I have a taste for that stuff. That's mainly because I grew up on hair metal. That's the reason I sing that way. Even though I was a baritone, I was like, I'm gonna stretch my voice and I'm gonna get it there.
To those,
I don't care, whatever I have to do. But that was, I would say the Vita Versus album was like the last album that I ever did where I was just like done being emulatory. Like from there I set out and I was like, I'm going to question everything about, not question, I'm going to find out everything about myself. You know what I mean? As a singer, I'm going to find out like the natural things in my voice. I didn't even have grit in my voice when I was in Polyphia or really when I was in Vita Versus at all.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I heard that a lot more after.
Yeah, like there was many techniques that I just didn't have in my voice yet because I didn't experiment, because I was too busy always thinking about like, you know, like I got to be like this because this other artist is like this.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that road to self-discovery makes a more honest performance and makes a more comfortable vocal performance. You know what I mean? You never know until you experiment, you know?
True.
Said every scientist ever.
Yeah, because I remember that project, and I was like, because I am like a very big fan of like your vocals, and I've always been.
Appreciate it.
And I think you know that because I think I've always like told him like
I'm a fan of yours
like,
too, dude. I've always been a fan of yours.
Anyways, but no, like yeah, like you. Just because like you, one of the stuff that like you get to do, I'm like, I fucking like want to do that. It was like an inspiration to like be able to. It was one of my inspirations to like push a little bit more than like. It's like, oh, what the fuck's gonna happen? You know what I mean? Like I'm just gonna find out like what I can do and not. But like that, I remember I remember when you guys came out with the Lightfall EP. After. You guys came out with Rose Gold, and Rose Gold to this day is one of the songs I keep playing because that song is just so well like made, and I was so excited because like that was the first single of like new stuff, and then like I mean I don't know what happened with all that, but like then nothing else came out. I'm like fuck, like I feel like kind of when like you were hitting a stride and stuff was coming out, I'm like oh then it's done.
Man, we were all really stoked about whenever our EP came out, and whenever, you know, we started promoting the music video, and the music video went like viral. It was awesome. Whenever we started deviating, I really liked the more like, it was still hard. It still had like breakdown and stuff like that, but it had other like R&B like pop elements in it that would introduce more diverse styles of singing, because that was whenever I'd started figuring out my voice more when I was gigging like all the time.
Yeah,
like I was playing pop hits. I was, you know, playing everything from Michael Jackson to Charlie Puth. You know what I mean? And so my understanding of singing and things that I wanted to write and sing was evolving.
Yeah.
And so whenever you've got that, and you've got instrumental players that are also listening to, like, you know, my lead guitar player could shred A7X, but he also loved John Mayer. You know, he loved like blues guitar.
Yeah.
And, you know, so we all wanted to kind of come together, and Rose Gold was where we started kind of putting those new styles of leads and new styles of, you know, guitar tones and new softer tones of singing and stuff like that into the mix. But it was a double-edged sword. Whenever you open up into a genre that you're trying to bend, you know what I mean? There becomes a whole lot more of a subjective, like a subjective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Opinions between.
Yeah.
Like we all know we want this general umbrella sound, but under that umbrella, there's 100 different things to disagree about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And before Rose Gold came out, God, like, we had like 2 or 3 different versions of that song.
Really?
Where like the pre-chorus part was like written a little bit differently beforehand, and then like the chord progression for the verse changed once or twice. And then I ended up writing the chord progression for the chorus just because I straight up didn't like the chorus progression originally.
Yeah.
And so I literally sent him, I was like, these chords, I played it on an acoustic guitar. I was
like, do this.
Corey, do this in bar chords. I don't know what drop tuning you're in. Like, I know the key though, whatever. But yeah, so that song came out, we were really happy with it and everything like that. Like I said, it was like one of the last music videos that Jeremy Brookover ever did. And Corey Morrison helped us too. I think he did some of the editing, also some of the shots as well.
On that one?
He was like, he's Pat the Human's vocalist, I believe.
Okay.
Or he was when they were together. But yeah, so whenever we started making, we made 2 more songs. We made a song that was objectively kind of metal and it was actually completely metal. Yeah, it wasn't like Rose Gold was. We had that song, and it was going to be called Legacy, and I wrote it about Luca, who's my oldest son, around the time that he was born. And we had that one on the back burner. We had some stuff that, you know, didn't quite go as planned. We were trying to work with a bigger name producer, and that we went to him and got it done, but what we got back we were not a fan of. But So we have like a demo version of that song as well as all the stems. And then we wrote this song called Spark. I wrote Spark about Bree, who's my wife now, around the time that we started dating. And that was the song that tore the band
What the fuck?
apart. Okay. So this kind of a cool story because it leads to a cool matter that goes around. So it's obviously like a love song, but it is a very intense song. I mean, it's got the belting, and I think it's arguably got the best chorus of any song that Lifeall's ever had. And Brandon agrees. And so
I need this.
I'll show it to you.
Yes.
I'll show it. Yeah. I have the version that we made, like the pre-pro version. It doesn't actually sound like a pre-pro. It sounds decent, but you could tell it doesn't sound like if Brandon kissed it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But so I wrote that song, and they were just dead set on that they didn't like the pre-chorus that I wrote. So I rewrote that pre-chorus like 4 or 5 times, and then I finally got that. And the first line of the lyrics are it's "I see fireworks when I look in your eyes," and I love Randy to death. Randy, he was Polyphia's drummer. He was Lifeall's drummer as well. He's like, "Hunter, I love the song. I love every single note in it, but I'm not releasing this song because those lyrics right there are G as."
Oh no!
And I was like, well, dude. The song is called Spark, and if you take away that line from the song,
It makes no sense.
because like it doesn't. The other part that it ties into is like the bridge part. The bridge lyrics are like, "It's the way you light my sky in the darkest night, diamonds embedded in your eyes, and they shine so bright. And it came as no surprise, the way you something my life. You are the spark inside me." And it goes, I see fireworks when I look in your eyes." So it's like if you take away that line, it shatters the
Yeah, like the allusion to the rest of the
the whole metaphor. And so I was like dead on it. I was like, "There's nothing wrong with this." And then I went as far as like I sent it to like 20 of my friends, and I was like, "Y'all look." And I sent them like screenshots. All my friends were like, "There's nothing wrong with that line. There's nothing wrong with that line. This song's the best song y'all had." But it was to no avail. And we had some like sighting issues in the band. It's nothing bad. Like all of us are like still cool and everything like that. It was just, like creative differences and like work ethic differences. Some of us were like able to contribute. Some of us were really, really struggling. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was too topsy-turvy to get any sort of like stability.
To get any kind of traction.
And then like, like 3 of us, like I think, me, Randy, and Michael are all married now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some responsibilities.
Yeah. And I met Bree about a year after Randy met Anna. And I think we were the first 2, and then Michael just got married recently.
Michael
Brazil,
right?
Yeah, who was Erlen's drummer. He was my bassist. Or he was Lightfall's.
My
band.
Mine.
I'm lead singer.
It's my band.
Don't remind me of my old self. Do not remind me of my old self.
Hey, your old self was all right. That
I have my moments. I was sort of. I had this perception because I grew up like looking at like Axl Rose and like Jim Morrison. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was too stupid to know that that's not a good way to be.
That's not a good way to be.
But I was like, I'm a rock fan. I gotta be like in your face. If I'm not saying something racier out there, it's not characteristic.
Yeah.
Not everyone can get away with what Ronnie's getting away with.
Shit.
You know what I mean? I am. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow. The fact that he's got a flourishing career is like. Isn't that? I like his music. Don't get me wrong.
Nuts, yeah.
My wife is like a absolutely huge Ronnie fan. Like just especially all the old stuff, all the new stuff. I think I was the first person to show her the band too. Ooh. Yeah. I know. People hate, but my senior year of high school, I was bumping the Druggers Me and You's album on the way to school for like 2-3 months. Like straight up, I knew every word to the whole album. But yeah, so whenever we couldn't get together about what to do with Spark, I said, okay, well, I know that I wrote the chorus progression to the song, and I wrote all the vocals and the lyrics. And so I was like, okay, so we're not ever going to release the song. We're not ever going to release Legacy. And so It's going to be kind of cool. I don't know if it's going to be the first song or the second song or the third song on my solo album, but we're making like a
So you're going to
thing
use
out
it?
of it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but I'm not
cool.
using. It's not going to have any of the guitar parts or anything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's nothing. Like, and it's going to be in like a different key and everything like that. But it's a love song. You know what I mean?
So
it's
you
a very
get to
passionate
put it
song,
out, you know what I
and
mean?
I will
Like
tell
something.
you, bro. I really hope that y'all like it. It's a super close song to me, and I'm just stoked for it.
I mean, it's a cool fucking story. Like, literally, you wrote this like into like dating who is now like your wife. Like, you just
Yeah.
got married. Like, fucking.
Yeah,
this
I
year.
was like, I'm not letting this song
Like, how do you
die.
let it go? You
I'm
know
not
what I
letting
mean?
this
Like-
song die. And it's too good. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Telling you. Like, Brandon is really stoked on it, too, because he always told me that we were crazy for breaking up, like, right whenever we were making those songs. Just because,
Yeah.
like, dude, like, y'all were evolving. Like, y'all were arguing like hell, but y'all were in the midst of making, like, you know, stuff that was exactly what you wanted to make.
Yeah.
You were just too touchy on each other about it.
Which kind of sucks, but you know, it unfortunately, like, that's one of the things that happens, like, on bands and collaborative efforts. It's like that's the type of like issues that you will run into, and it's just like, can you like work through them, or is it something that can't, you know, be compromised? But yeah, I definitely feel like that was the case, like, because I was like, oh, like when the Lightfall EP came out, and I'm like, this is really good. But then Rose Gold came out, I'm like, they fucking know what they're doing. Like I was like, this was fucking cool. I was like, but this one was like, I was like, I don't know what the fuck just happened. Like,
We fooled you into thinking we knew what we were doing.
apparently.
We were like, we got the song done, and then immediately it was like, holy fuck, what do we do next? oh my god, where do we
I
go
was
from here?
convinced. I was like, damn, the video.
Man, yeah, like Jeremy really delivered on it. To be honest, we did. You've been to Fabrication Yard, Dallas? You know that place that all those people take photo shoots at?
In Dallas?
They take photo shoots. It looks like a graffiti yard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
people
gotcha.
do photo shoots and music videos there. Yeah, that's where we shot like the main gist of it. The only part that I didn't like is that we found this used mattress, and they made me put like my bare knees on it for a scene, and I was like, I don't know what this mattress been through,
if
it's been
there.
beneath. But so that was fun. I also got to kick a mannequin that was on fire, so that was fun. He's like, yo, you got one shot at this. I'm gonna light this thing on fire. You have 3 seconds to get really, really angry and front kick this thing Spartan style as hard as you can. And that was a good day for me because I was actually going through stuff with, you know, you can imagine it. And I needed to get some, healthy aggression out. And I actually kicked that mannequin so hard. You know how, like, whenever you screw it in, there's the metal part, obviously. I kicked it so hard that the metal part broke and separated the bottom out. Yeah, I was mad.
You're going through some shit.
Yeah, and I was scared because I was like, dude, I've never like done something like this, like camera. Like, what if I like get mad that I just like front kick and miss? I was like, we can't light it on fire again, and there's not another. So I was trying to get fumed up all while being like, oh my god, am I about to make a complete embarrassment out of myself? You know what I mean? It was super crazy, but yeah. So like that was the kind of story about that. But whenever we released Rose Gold, we had no idea where we were going from there. We were just like, this is cool. Let's try and
Damn, I was fooled.
do something even better. I know the same thing happened with Hollow Wealth though, because Hollow Wealth, basically nobody's heard the stuff that they were writing, but they were going in a more pop direction. Yeah,
I need that too.
Oh yeah,
you need to figure this out, how to get that from Brandon.
Oh yeah, and like I know like Lucas is one of my favorite freaking metal singers that there is. He's an awesome guy. Yeah, awesome vocalist, and it was just the same as Lightfall. Like their songs were so catchy,
yeah.
But they weren't like metal or hard, like heavy rock even, like compared to those stuff. But they were just so good. Yeah. But it's always touchy whenever you got audiences in the scene like that, because they don't know necessarily how to touch something different than they've known from the same group of guys. It's different with Issues where they come out of the gate and we're like, we're R&B metal. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's different, whenever you're an evolving type thing genre wise. And, it was just something that, going back, I wish we could have, I don't know, isolated and addressed a little bit more. But it was all part of a process. Now, like we say, working with a team it's a hard thing, obviously. But I've been wanting to make a solo record even whenever I was in a band. but I always said I wanted to have it be with a really, really good producer. And up that many years ago, I was way too broke to be
to even that stack, like
even dreaming about having like a album produced by a team like Never Satisfied's got. Like a person that I regularly hang out with who's from the scene is Blake from Concepts.
From Concepts.
We're talking like the nut singer, like Concepts. Like
I don't know Concepts.
They were a post-hardcore band. I forgot who they were signed to. Shit, but he's got one of those nuts like Spencer Sotelo voices. You know what I mean?
Fuck.
Like, dude, yeah, they have like covers and stuff on YouTube, like Pop Goes Punk covers that have like a million or 2 million views. But yeah, he's like pop R&B writer, dude. I'm telling you, his melody writing skills, his hook writing skills is like up there with Bieber. Like I don't even know if Bieber writes most of his songs. I know Ed Sheeran wrote "Love Yourself."
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But yeah, he's definitely up there. Like, man, I've been working and putting it down. He's got all sorts of shit like that. Like, it's just everything he does is super catchy. And you know, we're in the studio together. And even though it's my album, like I'm having all these people in to at the very least, like check my work. I'm like, yo, here's this. Let me know what you think about it. You know, should I change like this note to this note? What do you think about this line right here? It's a team environment similar to how a band is. You know what I mean? Except they allow like the structural aspect to be with me. I am not like locked into, you know, like this is how the song I have is and it's perfect. I don't want anybody to change it because like I know my ass can be corrected.
Well,
bro.
that's
like,
I mean that goes back into
I want someone to get a better ear.
Yeah, that goes back into literally like I feel like the theme of this whole podcast is just like to keep learning and like that's one thing, like writing with other people is just like one of the greatest experiences. One, like again, they point out stuff that like you're right, like that is cooler, but it's also because you're in the driver's seat, you're still like, you know what, I still like want to keep like maybe what I did, you know what I mean, but I have this input that I also can like take in. And like working with a team is hard, but once you get your right team, like that's where like you get to actually like pick the people who are contributing, and also like in this case you get to pick what types of contributions you will accept like from them, you know what I mean? What can I put into actually my work that I feel will elevate it, you know what I mean? Not just what's going to change it, but what's going to make it a better song, because at the end of the day that's the fucking goal. The goal is to make bangers. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And it is really cool. Like I said, one of my vocal students is Lardy B. If you don't know who Lardy B is, check her out. And so it's just a part of the family. Like I'm not just a ghostwriter, but like, you know, I've started vocal producing and vocal coaching within the studio, so it's a growing family. You know, we all respect each other a lot. Like they want me to hop in on their sessions and do the same thing that they do for mine. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's a really cool family dynamic. You know, we're planning trips, we're doing writing camps, we basically lock ourselves in there over the weekend. Cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's so cool, and I never thought I would find a group of people that are like them. You know what I mean? And it's a blessing would be an understatement. Yeah. Like, to be honest, just to have the kind of mind that I've got and to be lucky enough to be surrounded by people that are good and talented the way that they are is just, I'm living on Mars, dude. I swear. None of this is real. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't.
It's a simulation.
Yeah. If there's anything that taught me the simulation is that I've been playing a lot of Minecraft with the kids. Okay, like we could be in a simulation too. Like I'm saying, we may not be 8 bits, but like, you know, we're, I don't know, 128 bits.
Well, that's fucking cool, man. I'm happy that you've like found the team to work with that meets the same kind of character, which is what they say all the time when you're working towards something. You need to keep people around you that are going to push you like that extra step. People that make you uncomfortable sometimes with like what you're being able to do to elevate what you're doing. You find the right team, you're always learning, and that's really fucking cool, dude. I'm actually like super excited to. I mean, next week you're starting to work on this, so I'm excited to hear what the fuck you're gonna be putting out. I've always been a super big fan, and I know people out there are just gonna love this shit. Like the songs that you put out recently have been sick as fuck. It just gives me a little taste of what like on, I think, Loving Regret, it still has like some of that belting like in the middle somewhere.
Oh,
I'm like,
speaking of this, so Decadon, who's one of the 2 guys that I made Love and Regret with, him and I made another song recently called Dangerous that just came out. And go check that out. Love and Regret and Dangerous by Decadon. I sang on both of them. And so On July 16th, I believe, I'm flying up to Denver, Colorado, for a global dance festival. It's like it's like the biggest dance festival that there is all year in Denver.
Yeah.
And Decadon is a hometown boy there. And I'm a little bit scared, okay? So, like, the biggest crowd that I've ever sang for in my life was 22,000 people whenever I sang the national anthem at the American Airlines Stadium.
Okay.
Or American Airlines Center. It's a stadium, isn't it, still?
Probably, yeah.
I don't know. But, like, so that was 22,000 people, and that was only one song I didn't even write, you know? And this crowd's supposed to be, like, 10 or 15,000 people, and I'm doing an original song. So I've been, like, practicing it, like, a ton lately, and I was like, yo, let's, like, I'm getting all, like, the gear set up and everything and make sure the sound's all good. But that's going to be something nuts. Like, that I've never experienced anything like that in my entire life.
The energy at a concert like that already. I mean, even though it's like, it might be a little less people than you performed before, definitely people are not getting as hyped for the national anthem than they are for, like a festival like this. And, like, just that energy alone is going to be fucking insane to experience, dude. That's going to be fucking sick. Yeah,
I was surprised, like, because we were always talking about, like, which festival, because he's becoming a pretty large DJ. Like, even since I've started working with him, he's hustling, dude. I mean, so much respect for him as an artist. Wow. But yeah, so, like, we're gonna be doing it in Denver in his hometown crowd, and he's on main stage at, like, 8 p.m. like 5 hours into the festival or something like that. So it's like
prime fucking spot.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one thing that I'm really super excited about. I'm writing a bunch more songs. I think I have almost 3 songs done for my solo album. Fireworks is going to be one, or actually, I don't want to call it Firework because it'll be confused with Katy Perry. You know, like, his first single's a cover of Katy Perry. No. But, like, yeah, it's, that's just a couple of things that I'm stoked for. Trying to stay healthy. I like slimmed down, and then I got, like, jacked as I ever was, and then, like, got fat from there, and then lost muscle and fat. And then now I'm, like, sort of getting the muscle back slowly. But I will say, working out consistently is, like, a thing that no matter what you do or what you love, you know what I mean? Even if it, like, if you don't do cardio, just lift weights. If you don't want to lift weights, just do cardio. Just something to activate yourself. I mean, what that does to the brain, dude. I'm telling you, because I get
and fucking shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that was one thing that I learned. I had a good buddy named Luke, like 4 years ago. That really kind of like showed me that and kind of how it applies as an artist. And so I always like kind of preach that. You know, now that doesn't say like, you know, don't go party ever or anything like that. Now, like, I party, bro. I party, bro. Well, responsibly. As a parent, okay?
You're a parent.
I don't need
You're married
CPS.
now. All right? You got a lot of good shit going for you. I appreciate you coming on, honestly. I could keep talking, like, honestly, too. Except
we cover the bases. We cover the bases.
So I'm sure, like, after, like, you're working on your album, come back, we'll have you back on, because there's just so much more that we could easily talk about. But again, dude, I really appreciate that. So check out literally everything that this man is working on. I know those singles with Decadon and Mash Pit. So we have Love and Regret and Dangerous. It came out. New solo album with, what's the production company again?
Never Satisfied
Productions.
And go record with them, make an album with them. They're in Carrollton, Texas.
Bam. Yep. And then, everything that you have coming out, let us know, and then we'll promote the shit out of it. Because, like I said, I've been a fan for a long time, and I'm lucky that, like, I get to call you a friend as well. So I'm always
definitely my brother, always.
Absolutely. But thank you guys for listening, watching, and see you guys next time.
Peace out.